Jake the Film Guy, Microbudgeter.com. In this video, we're going to talk about complaints versus objections.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring.
Hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll get Scottish accents and sometimes other accents too. In this video, we're going to talk about complaints. We're going to talk about objections. An objection is something you truly have to work around, if even you can work around the issue. But a complaint may sound like an objection, but it is not. A classic example is, I don't know, it's kind of a lot of money. That's a complaint. They're complaining that it's a lot of money. They're not saying, I have no money and my house burned down. I've got nothing left to my name except pocket lint and 2 pennies. That could be an objection. And even then, you might treat it like a complaint. Don't recommend that, though. We are video producers. We are not trying to devour. We're trying to serve by way of video production. And I hope you are doing that in the service of the one true king. Now, I have a really good example that I can run by you guys. This happened to me last week. Complaint after complaint, and you just handle them as such. That's what you need to do. It is not an audio recording. It is a message that I had back and forth on Facebook Messenger. It's a conversation I had back and forth on Facebook Messenger. And notice several of these complaints. I'll do my best to read as myself and then read as this other person who we'll call Mr. X. Let's dive right in. Hey there, Mr. X. Are you the one leading this project? Or is there someone else that's leading this project with you? I needed to qualify this guy, so that was my opener. I needed to know if he's the right person. Mr. X responds, it's my show. I'm putting it together. Excellent. My packages start at $2,000. Are you looking for a 3D video or a 2D animation video? Notice you want to do the same two things in the first few breaths you have with that person, or you will waste so much time, and I've talked about that elsewhere. I'll link them below, but you need to qualify the person you're talking to. And sometimes it gets sneaky. More on that later. But you want to make sure it's the right person you're talking to and that they can afford you, because you have a floor price and you're not going to go below that floor price, are you? I'd be open to either, but I don't think the budget my school's giving me will cover that. That's not an objection. I don't think. That's a complaint. So how do you handle that? You treat it like a complaint. Even though it's through a text-based medium, smile big and let your personality show through. Hey, Uncle Sam is way over budget and he doesn't quit operating. Other than the budget, do you have a video or an intro that really inspired you? It's kind of something I thought up in my head, but there's a beginning to a song that fuels it, and it would be used in the clip. It's under... And then he uses this song, this reference that he's been vibing off of. Gotcha. In what venues and platforms would you like to play this intro? Auditorium, Facebook, etc. Regardless of whether we work together or not, you have to be careful with a copyrighted work like that. I'm not going to go right out the gate and shut them down. Here's why. I know working in the church world, such a thing as the CCLI exists, which allows within certain parameters for churches to use copyrighted materials in the service of their worship services. So when it comes to a school, there might be a similar CCLI, some kind of licensing that allows them to use copyrighted material in a live performance. I don't know any better, and I shouldn't assume when I don't know any better. Back to the convo. It's gonna be in an auditorium. Great! How many videos are you looking for? Conversation's going. I'm starting to do the fact finding here. 2 small ones, a title sequence and a prologue sequence. Fabulous. Here are the styles of 2D animation that I can do. And I sent him over 2 links. I'll put both together for you for a flat $2,000. When do you want your videos by? Assumptive close. He is talking about his videos. They're not my videos, and I want to reinforce that. So let's start talking about deadlines here. When do you want your videos done by? I don't know if that's the style I'm looking for. I'm going for... Now, is this an objection? Most people might think so. It's not. It's a complaint. My stuff is bright. It's good-natured. It feels warm and fuzzy. But I know how to handle this complaint, so I fire back with, I'm with you. Darkness is often the absence of light. I know you said you didn't have a video in mind and that it's in your head right now, but if you did have a video that closely resembles your vision, what would it look like? Then go ahead and send over a link. Por favor. If I had to use an example, I'd say, think Sin City. I learned this from Grant Cardone. When somebody says they don't know, use that complaint, use the weight of that objection, use that as momentum. Well, if you did know, what would it look like? And that's what I did here with him. Okay, Sin City uses a lot of 3D animation, and that's not my niche. If you're wanting to go 2 dimensions, 2D, I'm your man, and I'll do it for $2,000 flat. When do you need your intro and your prologue finished by? Again, always refer to it as their video. The performance is set for mid-April, and I was thinking more 2D with a lot of foreground, midground, and background movement, just black and white and red. See, we're starting to talk here, we're fact-finding, we're getting his order written up, no different than a waiter or a waitress serving you at a restaurant. Great! That's definitely doable. Who at the school is financing the project, and I'll send over a proposal to you and that person. I was starting to suspect when he was saying earlier with that complaint that he wasn't sure at the school would spring for it, that I didn't really have the decision maker. But nonetheless, I have an influencer. I've got him on, quote, the phone. So I'm going to continue this conversation with him because to dismiss this influencer, very influential person in this decision, would be a deal killer. So treat him as the decision maker, even though the real decision maker, the check writer, is the person I haven't gotten to yet. But we got to figure out who that is, don't we? The theater program is financing it, but I don't know how much they'll let me use. Again, another complaint. I hear ya. Agree. First rule of selling. Learned that from Grant Cardone, learned it from Zig Ziglar. All the sales greats will teach you the same. Agree. Always agree. I hear ya. If you were going to include that person from the theater program on talking about financing the project, who might that be? Again, I'm trying to sniff out who it is. Oh, it's Mr. Bob, Uncle Bob. Fantastic. What is a good email for yourself? Here's mine. And I give him my email. I give him my office number. He responds with this person's email and then his email as well. So I've got Uncle Bob's email and his email as well. I've got the name of the school. I can look up that school because schools always publish all of their faculty info. Number, email, picture of that person, address, office address, goldmine of information. That's the beauty of a school. Super. I'll get that over to you in a jiff. Facebook Messenger, phone calls, text, they're a great way to get a hold of me as well. At this point, I've already given him my phone number and email, so he's got multiple points of contact. And since we're already doing this conversation over Facebook Messenger, it makes sense to allow that to be a place to continue this conversation. Knowing Uncle Bob like you do know him, what other information is Uncle Bob looking for that would be helpful for me to talk about? Just how much it will cost and what system it can be used on. Will do. Thanks, I appreciate it, Mr. X. Let's make your videos. And it goes back to the price. He's really hung up on this. It's a complaint. It's a legitimate complaint. You got to handle it every time. Just saying, I don't know if we'll be able to pay up front, but if you still want to make them, go ahead. I can send a full detailed message on what I want to happen. Clearly, he's looking to see if it's possible to have a free video. I don't blame him. You should always ask a vendor for a discount. He's going for the ultimate discount, 100% discount. Not that I'm going to do that, so keep it positive. Absolutely, I'm not worried about financing, and neither should the department. I take PayPal, and PayPal offers 6 months of no interest if everything is paid up in those 6 months. And then I give him a link to the PayPal landing page for this information about their 6 months of no financing. And he responds, okay, keep it lighthearted, keep it jovial. So I send my favorite Bruce Lee gif. It's of him simply just bowing. And this guy, he's got a sense of humor too. He responds with the one from the School of Rock with Jack Black just doing the salute. And that's how the conversation ended on Facebook Messenger. Now, after doing some follow-up via emails, I don't think that I'm going to be able to land this gig. But nonetheless, I am very excited for these kinds of conversations because it allows me that much more practice for the bigger conversations that I know I will have. And I hope that you will treat it the same way. As I said in a previous video, failing more often than succeeding, it's not a bad thing. All of this helps shape our careers as film directors, as filmmakers, as storytellers. So failure is not a bad thing. If anything, the practice is paramount. It is essential. Again, no different than the NBA greats going and practicing their free throws over and over and over again. Just because they've done it 5,000 times doesn't mean they're going to just hang up their spurs and call it a day. They're going to continue to practice those free throws, and it's the same with us. We need to continue to practice how to pitch, how to smile, how to agree, how to overcome complaints, how to determine who the real decision maker is, so on and so forth. If you found this information useful, smash the like button. I'll wish you the best of success. Use these tools that God's given you for the glory of God and the glory of God alone. And if you are indulging in things that are not healthy here, flee, run, get help. Love you in the Lord. I'll catch you on the next video. Cut. Okay. All right. Strike these elements. We gotta go